Hello, this is Daniel Mart, and today I'm going to be doing another video. This one's going to be for my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2015. So yeah, I chose 10 movies, but at the same time, I also have a few honorable mentions. Here you go for the honorable mentions. So yeah, Terminator Genysis, really excited for it. I know the last two Terminator movies haven't been so well, but to be fair, they haven't come. The last Terminator movie came out 10, 15 years ago. So yeah, I think it's time to reboot the franchise, even though it's kind of awkward the way they're gonna be rebooted. I think it is time to reboot the franchise. And yeah, and also Terminator for new generation. Why not? Let's go for it. Terminator Genysis, number 10. Up now, number 9. So yeah, number 9, American Sniper, comes out next month or January, whatever, in a week. Yeah. So yeah, it stars Bradley Cooper, and I really haven't seen Bradley Cooper in much of anything, to be completely honest. Aside from The Hangover and his voice in Guardians of the Galaxy, I really haven't experienced much of Bradley Cooper, and I hear he's actually a pretty good actor when he takes up a serious role, and this seems to be a serious role enough for him. So I'm really excited to see him in that, and yeah, number 9, American Sniper. Now on to number 8. So number 8 is Fast and Furious 7, Furious 7, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I understand the irony of this being number 8 when it's the 7th installment in the series, but whatever. Yeah. So I really want to see this. I've always liked the Fast and Furious franchise, and now it's gonna be interesting now that they don't really have Paul Walker in the franchise. And one of the biggest things I want to see is how they're gonna write out Paul Walker's character Brian. I really want to see how they write him out. So yeah, now number 7. Okay, so number 7 is Ted 2. So yeah, again, the name a little bit ironic considering the fact that this one says 2, and I'm putting it at number 7, but it's not that big of a deal in this case. So yeah, I mean, the first Ted was hilarious in my opinion. Made by the same people who made Family Guy, Seth MacFarlane, and he did pretty good. The only thing I'm kind of worried about is that last year or this year, sorry, in 2014, he did A Million Ways to Die, and that movie was a bit questionable. So yeah, hopefully he fixes all that up and makes Ted 2 a good sequel that we all want. The good sequel we all want. And yeah, number 6 is so yeah, number 6 is Ant-Man. It's one of two Marvel movies that's here. I think you could guess what the other one is, obviously. But I'm not gonna say it. So yeah, this movie is either supposed to end Phase 2 or start Phase 3. I'm still completely confused on that aspect. For me, I think it starts Phase 3 because Age of Ultron should be ending Phase 2 from common logic and from what they've stated earlier, Marvel did and Disney. So yeah, basically Ant-Man, it's the second riskiest film or second or third riskiest film they've done. First one being Iron Man, and then the second one being this year's Guardians of the Galaxy. So yeah, Ant-Man is another risky film. Let's hope it pays off. Uh, I just kind of wish Edgar Wright was still directing it. I don't really like Peyton Reed directing it. It just seems awkward and weird now. Man, I wish Edgar Wright would have directed it more. Yeah, but still, let's hope for the best. Number 5. So yeah, number 5 is gonna be Jurassic World. So yeah, similar to Terminator Genesis, it's gonna reboot the franchise, and it's gonna be almost a sequel to the previous movie, which came out like 15 years ago, more or less. I think. So yeah, and it also looks pretty cool right off the trailer. It looks pretty cool. Also, you have the added bonus of Chris Pratt in there, and he's become a huge action star after the success of Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, he's always kind of been an action star, but before he was just a small-time action star. Because he also had a small role in Zero Dark 30. But right after Guardians of the Galaxy, he became a huge action star. And I think this movie's gonna help him become more of an action star, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's number 5. Now onto my number 4. My number 4 is gonna be Tomorrowland. I mean, how can it not be? I mean, it's gonna star George Clooney in a Disney film to begin with. That idea at first sounds kind of laughable. I mean, sorry, when I heard that George Clooney was gonna be in a Disney film, I literally laughed my ass out. You know, LOL, whatever. But then we got the trailer and it looked pretty cool. And basically, the best way I can describe it would have to be Harry Potter meets sci-fi. That's the best way to describe it. Yeah, there, Harry Potter and sci-fi. Boom. That's Tomorrowland. Number 3. Number 3 would have to be Mad Max. Similar to Terminator and Jurassic World, it's gonna reboot a franchise that's been dead for about 15 to 20 years, more or less. Um, And yeah, you have Tom Hardy as the leading role, and he's been pretty good recently. You know, he was in, you know, he was. I mean, the one thing I can think off the top of my head is the Dark Knight Returns, right? Yeah. You know, him as Bane, but I know he's been in some other good things. And yeah, it's just that I haven't really don't know really much about Tom Hardy, which you know again similar to American Sniper. I don't know much about Bradley Cooper. Here, I don't know much about Tom Hardy, and maybe through this I could learn a bit more about Tom Hardy and see how good his acting chops is. And overall, it looks like a pretty badass film. So yeah, now we're getting to the nitty gritty. Numero dos. The Force Awakens, Star Wars The Force Awakens, Episode 7, whatever. Star Wars The Force Awakens is my number 7. The one thing though I don't really like about the movie is the fact that it comes out all the way at the end of the year. So I guess the payoff will be bigger, but I have really no idea. So yeah, and again, similar to Terminator and Jurassic World and Mad Max, it's gonna reboot a franchise that's again been dead for about a couple years, about 10 years. So this one's kind of debatable because they do have the animated TV shows on Cartoon Network. They had yeah, they had like 2 or 3 animated TV shows on the Cartoon Network. So yeah, and they've always had the comics, but you know, movie wise, it's always kind of been dead for like it's been dead for about like a decade or more or less for like the past 10 years. So number 1, what can it be? Number 1 has to be Age of Ultron. Yeah, it's one of 2 Marvel movies. The other one, Ant-Man, came out at number 6. This one has to be number 1. It just has to be number 1. Has to be. I cannot stress enough. Has to be number 1. And why? Well, first off, it's the sequel to Avengers, the original Avengers, the first one. Which that movie alone was an event when it came out. This one's gonna be the same event times 5 or whatever times 10, tenfold. It's gonna be even bigger. It's gonna be a bigger event when it comes out. You have Ultron, one of the biggest enemies to the Avengers. I think right next to Thanos, up until this point, up next to Thanos. Ultron is the next biggest antagonist to the Avengers. Um, and you're gonna get the introduction of Vision in the movie, and also Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, and also another interesting thing is that not Scarlet Witch, that Quicksilver is gonna be in this movie because he was also in the Days of Future Past movie, so that's gonna be interesting. That's one thing that I want to see how are they gonna portray Quicksilver in this movie. Are they gonna make him comedic or serious? That's gonna be interesting. Because also at the start he's supposed to be on Ultron's side. So so yeah, I mean honestly, this one has to be my number one, especially for a comic book fan. And yeah, I mean, and it's also not just a sequel to the Avengers. It's a sequel to Captain America: The Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Man 3, the Thor the Dark, yeah, and Thor the Dark World, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and Thor the Dark World. It's like a sequel to 5 different movies, all wrapped up into one. Plus the Agents of Shield TV show, which I watched the first 5 or 6 episodes and then I dropped it, and I really regret dropping that show because I just heard that the Inhumans was in like episode 10 or the most recent episode or something like that. Something to do with the Inhumans was like in episode 10, and that the Skylar, I believe was her name, is gonna become Quake or something like that. I really don't know because I don't follow the show that much anymore, but I really regret dropping the show because I swear that's a whole setup for Phase 3. So Age of Ultron is my all-time number one. So yeah, just to go over the list once more, my honorable mentions are Escobar, The Paradise Lost, Kingsman: Secret Service, Pixels, Mission Impossible 5, The Point Break, Reboot, Spongebob, A Sponge Out of Water, Taken 3, Scorch Trails, Specter, yeah, Specter, I lost my mind. Specter, Pan, Mockingjay Part 2, Selma, Taken 3, and yeah, my number 10 is Terminator Genysis. Number 9 is American Sniper. 7, Furious 7. I mean, 8 is Furious 7. 7 is Ted 2. 6 is Ant-Man. 5 is Jurassic World. 4 is Tomorrowland. 3, Mad Max. 2, Force Awakens. And 1 is Ultron, Age of Ultron. So yeah, that's basically it for my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2015. Stay tuned for my top 10 least anticipated movies of 2015. And I think next week I'll do my top 10 best and worst movies of 2014. I still need to catch up on a couple movies. I'll probably release that somewhere between January 5 and January 11. I want to say, just to give you guys an idea. Yeah, somewhere around there should be my top 5 worst and top 5 best of 2014, and my top 10 least anticipated movies of 2015 will be coming up tomorrow or something like that. So yeah, that's basically it for now. For this video, subscribe if you're not subscribed. I do movie reviews, TV show reviews, and comic book reviews, so definitely do stay tuned for that. Besides that, comment down below on your top 10 most anticipated movies of 2015, or just put down a few of them. And do you agree with any of the ones I put down? Comment all that down below, let me know. Like the video, share on Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, or whatever you guys prefer. And that's basically it for now. This is Daniel Mart signing off.